everyone. I'm Rochelle Chernowski, and this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, November 5th. On today's show, taking a look at life at sea, modern advances in orthopedics, and after an extended hiatus, the season gets underway for the Spot Play Readers. But first, Session 3 of the Academy Class Intermediate Bridge gets underway today in the game room at the Woodlands. Presenter Susan Willoughby instructs the class on the next 4 Wednesdays from 1 until 3:30. It's $48 and sign-ups are required. Resort Services Let the Shows Begin series gets underway next Wednesday, November 12th, with a trip to the Broadway Palm Theater. Buddy, the Buddy Holly story, is an award-winning celebration of the brief but spectacular music career of the legendary Buddy Holly. The cost is $55. A lunch buffet is included. For more information or to sign up for any of the activities we've talked about today, stop by the Island Service Desk or call them at 454-2282, or head over to the Woodland Service Desk or give them a call at 454-2054. The Academy continues to bring magnificent programs here to Shell Point, and the latest 3-session class is no exception. Looking at life at sea in the age of sail will be presented by award-winning maritime author, lecturer, and TV commentator Robert Macomber. He sat down with Terry Colath recently to discuss this fascinating program.
Hi, I'm Terry Colath, and I'm here with a special guest, Robert Macomber. You may have heard him discuss his books, you may have heard him discuss his research, you may have heard him discuss the naval history that he's learned up close and personal over the years, and this time he's bringing us something to do with the sea, but a little more fun. Thanks for joining me, Robert.
It's always a great pleasure to come here.
We love having you, and I really am excited about what you dreamed up for us this time. Looking at life at sea in the age of sail. That really places it.
Yes, this is, there are a lot of romantic notions about what it was like at sea, and most of those notions are fed by Hollywood, Johnny Depp, and many of the great 1930s and 40s movies. We're going to talk about life as it really was at sea, and there's a lot of humor. It's very backwards humor. It's very dry humor. And there are a lot of fascinating ways that life at sea in the age of sail has come ashore and entered everybody's lives.
That is so fascinating to me because I've sailed. I love sailing. There's something about being out there. And you're right. Yes. It's very romantic to be off, the wind just carrying you along. But you have to wonder about people. How did they get their food?
Exactly.
What did they do? It's boring out there sometimes,
When the wind didn't blow.
Exactly.
And they didn't have an engine.
Yeah.
It starts to lose the romance real fast. Or when the wind's blowing too much.
Right.
The romance factor is pretty much out the window at that point.
That's right. Well, you're going to give us 3 distinct classes, and I love that because we're busy here, and people can choose 1 class, 2 classes, or all 3. Yeah. So you're going to focus on areas. The first one, sailor talk, the language of the sea and how it came ashore. Give us just a little snap of that.
Well, throughout this country, and in much of Europe and in much of the European settled world, many sailor phrases came into our conversations. And it doesn't matter whether you live within 50 miles of salt water or not. If you live in Kansas and you've ever heard anybody say, well, there'll be the devil to pay for that, or you better toe the line, or something along those lines, you've just said sailor talk.
How did it get so far inland? How did it?
Well, as the country increased its transportation and people started moving away from where they grew up and started moving around, living in different places, then they took that language with them. And so I'm going to explain the meanings behind these things that many people use and they don't know why or what it means.
Super. Then we're going to, the next time, which is Friday, music of the sea, sea shanties. And
everybody loves sea shanties. They're fun. And there are different kinds of sea shanties, and they were used for different reasons. Some of them are working sea shanties. And they made the work go a little easier because it was incredibly hard work. And there were different kinds of work and different kinds of songs, depending on the different beats, the rhythm of the song would help you with that work. And then there were some songs that were sung ashore when the guys finally reached port and they were allowed to leave the ship, which wasn't often because they would run away. But occasionally they would be allowed, if they were trusted, to go ashore. And those are many laments. Those are many sad songs, the great love songs and things like that from the sea. So we're going to hear some of these songs. I'm going to explain them to people, and you'll get to understand a little more about some of those sea shanties you may have heard in the background or in movies or something like that. And it's really a fascinating story of the culture of the sea.
Then we're going to wrap it all up on Monday, and we're going to do salty superstitions, the strange do's and don'ts of life at sea.
This, people laugh. These things are so silly, these superstitions at sea. They're so silly, but sailors, even to this day, many times follow these superstitions. Sure. And sometimes in these days, they don't even know how it started. But there are a lot of very whimsical kinds of things that sometimes used to have a serious foundation to them.
They started for a reason.
They started for a reason that may sound ridiculous now, but to them at sea, it wasn't ridiculous, and you followed them in those days.
That is so wonderful. Yeah. Well, we look forward to it as always.
I always love coming here. I have a lot of friends and readers here. So.
You sure do. All right, everybody, this is Thursday, Friday, Monday. Come to one or two or all three, and I guarantee you'll look at life at sea a little bit differently after spending this time with Robert Macomber.
The folks at Resort Services are also offering up another informative program in Health Connections. Dr. John Fifer will discuss modern advances in orthopedics, the medical specialty dealing with the musculoskeletal system. Here to talk more about tomorrow's program are Mary Franklin and Dr. Fifer.
I'm Mary Franklin with an upcoming Health Connections program with one of the Shell Point favorites, Dr. Fifer. He will be coming to give a talk on modern advances in orthopedics, and it will take place on Wednesday, November 12th at 1:15 p.m. in the Social Center. Dr. Fifer, thank you for coming out once again to educate the Shell Point residents in your world of orthopedics. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure.
Well, here's my first question for you. It seems like one of the most difficult things with orthopedics is the diagnosis and where do you go? How do you know do you just get the shot? Do you just go to therapy? Do you go straight to surgery? How do you handle all of that?
Well, the first step is here at Shell Point. It's easy. You go visit your physicians and the medical team, and they'll get you started.
Right.
When that doesn't work, you're going to see an orthopedic surgeon if you hurt in your arms and your legs and your butt, and we're going to try to make a good diagnosis. Sometimes it's very easy. Sometimes you'll need shots. Sometimes you'll need special studies, but you have to have a good diagnosis.
Right. And you are great at that. You don't look at everybody the same, just the number coming in. You really look at each individual walking in as an individual and treat them different.
It's so hard when you hurt. Who do you see? And I tell our patients, come visit us. If it's a musculoskeletal problem, we'll figure it out. If it's not us, we'll get you to the right person. But it is hard, and it's very hard for every average person. But that's why I say always start with your medical team here at Shell Point, and then you work into our office. And we'll figure it out, and we'll get you to the neurologist, the neurosurgeon, the bowel doctor, the GI doctor, the dermatologist, and then we'll go from there.
Create a team for you.
Or your primary care doctor here will get you to the right team and the right specialists to figure it out.
Good. Now, how do you feel when someone walks into your office and they say, Doc, I was online last night.
I love it.
Do you? Why do you love it?
Well, it starts with vocabulary. And they've read something, and usually they'll come up with something I didn't even think of.
Right.
Because I always want to address their worries first. And everybody has a worry when they go on the internet.
Yes.
And I always do it before I take my car to the mechanic.
Right.
So I have an idea. Usually I'm wrong.
Right. But you at
But it's
least
okay.
can get your point across and know some of the language. And so, it's interesting, you feel that the internet is getting a little bit more accurate?
Oh, it's getting much better. Over the last 10 years, it's gotten so much better. People can get some really good information now. Wikipedia, I go to whenever I'm looking up something, and then I go from there.
Right, good.
But that's why they come see me.
Right.
Because I can fill in the gaps. I can tell them what's right, what's wrong about the internet, and then we make a good diagnosis, and then we work on how are we going to treat their orthopedic problem.
Right, okay. What is your view when someone comes to you and say, I hurt so much I can't exercise, or they're giving up on the exercise or therapy? Do you think we should just stop when we have a pain?
Well, I'm going to go back to my dad's theory. As long as you're moving, they can't bury you.
Right.
So you have to keep moving. Secondly, you have to work through the pain. But before you can work through the pain, you need a good diagnosis.
Correct.
Assuming you're not going to damage anything. And that's where your therapy here at Shell Point is so important. Here's where your exercise room is so important. And here's where a good diagnosis is so important.
Right.
But you got to keep moving.
Yes. Yeah, so even if that knee is hurting and maybe you don't have an appointment for a couple of days, you can still work the upper body, keep moving or doing a little bit.
You
Just
have to.
back off a little bit until you know that diagnosis.
Oh yeah, if you sit in a chair, we all know what happens. You get stuck.
Yeah.
You got to keep that body moving or you're in trouble.
Right. Well, Dr. Fifer, you have so much energy, and energy and information, but it just comes right off the top of your head, and I know our residents will really appreciate your information. So get on the internet, figure out what your questions are, because you can ask them to Dr. Fifer on Wednesday, November 12th at 1:15 in the Social Center. You will be impressed. You'll appreciate his knowledge and him sharing it with you. You can sign up at either of the service desks. I'm Mary Franklin with the Health Connections. Myself and Dr. Fifer wish you a happy and healthy day.
Shell Point's own theater is back, and with their diligent work, they are ready for show number 21. Melody Desilets recently spoke with members of the group about this month's big show in the Village Church.
Hi, Shell Point, and welcome to the Village Church stage. I am joined by three very special ladies today. I have Kate Sullivan from Eagles Preserve, Ruth Deuber from Periwinkle, and Ann Wharton from Cameo Court. And we are here today to talk about Shell Point's own theater, a production coming up right around the corner, and you are all invited. Now, I am joined by the co-producers of this wonderful production. Ruth, you have been doing spot for Shell Point for many years.
Yes, I have.
We all know and love you. Can you tell me what number is this production?
This will be the 21st show.
That is phenomenal. And what is the show's name?
Well, it's called Don't Mention My Name, which is, you really have to see the show to know where that comes from. It's a play written by Fred Carmichael, and he is just a great playwright. Lots of humor in it, and that's what we want for Spot, is humor.
Humor, and what else is involved? Is there a little mystery and intrigue?
Yes. Much intrigue, and a surprise ending, which always makes it fun, so it's something to look forward to.
Now, Kate, you are co-producing this wonderful production. Can you tell us time, date, place, and how many characters are involved?
Oh, sure, absolutely. It's going to be on Thursday, November 13th, right here in the refreshed and renewed Village Church at 7:15. We have rather a large cast this time out. We have 8 characters, and nobody is who you think they are. They aren't even who they think they are. So there is quite a bit of intrigue, as Ruth referenced. And in fact, some of the props that we have here are very important to the play. Telephone rings periodically, and we also have our script book, of course, and there's a suitcase. Or is there more than one suitcase? You're going to have to come and find out. Now, the surprise ending is such a surprise. Even the actors don't know what it is yet. We don't want anybody on Shell Point property knowing it until that night.
Kate, that sounds so wonderful and so intriguing that you don't want to miss this production, that's for sure. So in order to prepare for this production, we're going to turn it over to Ann, who's going to explain how the play readers get together and how they come up with these productions.
Well, Ruth usually picks productions that we've had in play readers, and then we do that in spot. And I many times am asked by people, you carry the script. Why in the world do you have rehearsal? Well, we have to have rehearsal because we have so many props, and and we also don't want to run into each other. We don't want to fall off the stage, and it's just. You really have to do a lot of practicing to understand when you come in, when you don't come in, and there's so many of us too on stage. It's so much fun.
So of course rehearsal will help you with voice inflection, knowing when to deliver the lines, humor, things of that nature.
Oh yes, yeah.
So as Anne had mentioned, those rehearsals actually do count as volunteer hours. So this is so important to the overall Shell Point volunteer picture. So if you are a part of spot or play readers, please mark down those hours. And if you are friends and family or guests of the play readers, please come out to the spot production. Don't mention my name. It's happening right here in the Village Church, Thursday, November 13th at 7:15 p.m. We'll see you out there.
Now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hi, I'm Jill Aldrink, and I'm here with Bev Chanley to tell you what's happening today, Wednesday, November 5th. We start our morning at 7:45. The men's Bible study group meets in the Osprey Room. And at 8 o'clock, the men's match play doubles tennis will be gathering at the tennis courts in the Woodlands. 8:45, Lily and Company, our weekly jewelry service, will be in the Resident Activity Center. Also at 8:45 is a resident council meeting. They meet in the Social Center on the island. At 9 o'clock, Jurassic Travel is in the Egret Room to help you with your travel needs. Also at 9 o'clock, we have the watercolor group with Phil Hilton, and they gather in the art studio in the tunnel on the island. The card making and scrapbooking group will be gathering in the Tarpon Room at 9:15. At 10 o'clock is the ladies' Bible study, and they gather in the Osprey Room on the island. The men's match play doubles tennis, they meet at the tennis courts at 10 o'clock. And at 10:15, the Model Yacht Sailing Club, they'll be out at the Commons Lake in the Woodlands. At 11 o'clock, the Shell Point Garden Society meeting will take place in the Oak Room at the Woodlands. And our final morning activity is the Health Connections Agility and Flexibility. They meet at 11:30 in the Health Club, and that is currently full. Here's Bev to tell you what's happening this afternoon.
Thanks, Jill. At 1 o'clock, we have chess. That's played in the Library Lounge on the island. Our model train room is open from 1:30 until 3:30 if you're interested in taking a tour. At 1:45, we have a Health Connections class, Balance and Mobility Training Level 1. That's in the Health Club. Currently, that's full. And at 2 o'clock, we have a pottery studio open with a pottery DVD going on. So head on down there and learn a little bit more about pottery. At 2:30, we have Jazz and Stuff. That's in the Grand Cypress Room. At 3 o'clock, the Memory Care Group will be in the Behavioral Health Medical Center on the island. Also at 3 o'clock, we have a Health Connections Pilates Stretch in the Health Club. 3:30, we have another Health Connections class, Aqua Agility and Conditioning at the Life Quest Aquatic Center. And then we have a 4:30 indoor bocce going on in the Health Club on the island. At 5:45, you'll find the church choir rehearsal going on at the Village Church. And we round out today with a 7:15 prayer and praise at the Village Church. Well, we hope you have a wonderful day today, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Wednesday. At 9:30, our art class, Painting a Self-Portrait, continues in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. At 9:45, our cloud computing class using Google Drive continues in the Computer Teaching Center at the island. At 1 o'clock, our palette knife class continues in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. And at 1 o'clock, Intermediate Bridge will begin a new session in the game room at the Woodlands, and sign-up is required. At 1:45, we have a new word processor prep school. This will take place in the Computer Teaching Center on the island. Please sign up at either service desk. I'd like to tell you about a couple new classes coming tomorrow. We'll have our first class in the series looking at life at sea in the age of sail with Robert Macomber. We'll also have an Apple iPad class, Tips and Techniques, with Penny Modrich of Nautilus and Bruce Findlay of Sundial.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is roast beef with mashed potatoes and creamed spinach. The dinner special is the pasta buffet for $13.95, and the soup of the day is chicken Florentine. In the Allen Cafe for lunch, the special is a pulled pork sandwich with coleslaw for $7.25. The dinner special is grilled shrimp for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are pork schnitzel for $13.95 or snapper for $17.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey, Assistant Pastor, and with me is Anna Marie Tesoriero from Sundial. I'm here in the capacity as your host for the Alpha program in 2015, because the sign-up period is just beginning. The Alpha course runs for 10 weeks from mid-January to mid-March. And it's an exploration, really, of faith, of the Christian message. The evenings are divided into 3 sections. We start with a hot meal that's catered by the Palm Grill. Then we go on to a DVD, and then into discussion groups. So the evenings run from 4:15 to 6:45. Now is the time to register, because we've just come out with our little invitations. These are available in the church lobby if you have a friend you would like to bring or send. And we also have these bookmarks with the dates and the times for you. Now, Anna Marie, it's so nice to have you with us. Now, you've done Alpha. I know you've come more than once.
Yes, I've come 2 times.
2 times. How did you first get interested in even coming?
I knew there was an Alpha program, but I thought it was for the village church and not for me, because I go to St. Columkill. But my friend invited me to go, and she said, "You will like it." I said, "Okay." So we went every Tuesday night, and that's when I met you, and we was very welcomed. And I was surprised that even if I didn't have my name tag, everyone you remember my name.
Tesoriero. I worked on that one.
Well, yes.
5 syllables?
Yes. And Dottie Morrison was the other facilitator, and I knew her. I knew her from the grief group. The minute I saw the first lecture with Nicky Gumbel, I fell in love with the whole program. Especially, he was just great and humorous, and it was like welcoming. You wanted to come back every week.
Yes, Nicky Gumbel is a pastor from London in England, and he has a very entertaining and helpful way of presenting the material.
Yes, and he really made some truths very apparent. And I liked it because it deepened my spirituality. I always want to know more about the Bible. I felt that I knew more than I thought I did. I think I had helped with my prayer life, and I liked it. I really did, and so much so that I wanted to go back the next year and bring a friend.
Oh, no, we love that. That's
yes,
great.
Yes, and I still liked Nicky. It was like all new again when I heard him. It wasn't boring to sit through it one more time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your input. I really appreciate that. You were a colorful member of the group, and we all seem to have a good time together. And I noticed that friendships develop, especially amongst the newer people who don't have a whole network of friends here, just eating together week after week and going through this material and then discussing it in a non-authoritarian way afterwards seems to have brought a lot of people together and helped them on their spiritual journey. So I really appreciate your input.
It helped me on my spiritual journey.
Good. We're happy about that. Yeah. And thank you for tuning in to Village Church Connections.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow for information on a Health Connections program that'll show you how to cook quickly and healthy. Plus, clean up those clubs. It's time for the annual Shell Point Charity Golf Tournament. And we get you ready for Fantasy of Flight as we meet a Shell Point couple who found love in the skies. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, November 5th. I'm Rochelle Chernowski. And for all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day and we'll see you again tomorrow.